evening, everyone. Call the regularly scheduled town board meeting for August to order. Please join the town clerk, Mrs. Haley, in the pledge of allegiance. Thank you all for being here. We're going to start with public comment. We have a number of speakers who signed up. We will do our 3 minutes per speaker. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We will time it and try to make it fair for everyone. So at the end of 3 minutes, we will ask you to finish the sentence you are in. With that, we'll begin with Dia Monsbach.
Costello and town board members.
Microphone's not working.
Microphone.
Hello?
Hello?
Yep, got it. Thank you.
Okay, start again.
Not loud enough.
3 minutes starting now?
Yep.
Thank you. Good evening, Supervisor Costello and town board members. I'm Dia Mansbach, and first I want to say that I appreciate the consideration of Code Red consultants, as I see it is an acknowledgement of a real safety issues that have been discounted before now. I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm going to switch it up a little. I have a question for one of the town board members, and I only want that town board member to answer. And if you cannot or will not, please say so, and I will reclaim my time. The question is for Ms. Bassler. It's regarding the BESS working group or the BESS zoning working group. We have foiled to get information on this and gotten no response. We'd like to know who is part of this body, what town board members are on it, what is the business of the group, where does the group meet? Why is there no notice about these meetings? Where are the minutes of these meetings available? And why are they not posted? Thank you for your answers.
Thanks, Ms. Monsbach. That was a lot of sub-questions, so I don't know if I can go through each one in full recollection, but I could tell you about my experience working on with colleagues and other members of the working group, if that helps.
I'll read the questions again,
Okay.
one at a time.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You have 3 minutes. We're going to consume the entire thing with a little bit of a back and forth. I just stopped the clock. Do you want to proceed that way? You have about a minute left.
I don't think the questions are that complicated, but yeah, it's who, what, who, where, why, and minutes. How's that?
That's a 1 minute answer, but I'll leave it up to Ms. Bassler to try to address.
Thank you.
Okay, starting the clock again.
Okay. What is the working group? Is that the question?
What is the business of the group?
The group convenes participants to work on draft zoning law to regulate BESS specifically in the town of Saugerties.
Is there any other business?
No, that's the only business.
And who's on that body?
It's an invited group. There's not a strict membership or appointments. The participants who have attended most meetings are myself, a planning consultant from Nelson Saugerties, who also advises the planning board as they consider the application. Sean Weaver from the building department also attends. We have, I could go on.
Yeah, that's retired.
Okay, well, since we received no response to a FOIL, can we continue this conversation out of the town board meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Eric Delmar.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Delmar. I live on Lafayette Street in the Village. For the past 8 months, we've learned about the complex consequences of allowing a lithium BESS unit into our neighborhood. Constant noise, the threat of fire and toxic fumes, and the possible contamination to aquifers within the Saugerties groundwater protection zone. We would need a mass evacuation plan, a plan dictated by the direction of the wind. And for those of us in the village, the proposed battery site is west of us. So whether it's summer or winter, the prevailing winds blow from the west. Literally, we're in harm's way. In the village, we've praised our mayor and board for the village's request to the town for a moratorium against any BESS installation until we receive an impartial investigation about the dangers. In the village, we'd be just hundreds of feet away from those threats and all that noise. We have no say in something that might ruin us, ruin our way of life, poison our air, our water, and our soil. We must always remember our firefighters and first responders, for whom a giant battery farm might always be a concern and a perpetual challenge to their safety. We cannot allow ourselves to be a victim of this terrible idea. I implore the town to step up and fight to protect its village. Thank you.
Catherine Rummel.
Okay, so I don't have to just present questions, I can just make statements, right?
Yeah. You 2 to 3 minutes. You can
Okay.
choose.
All right, as I brought to light the last time I was here at a meeting, we already have a disturbing amount of these storage units throughout the country. And on the Clearview website, there's 1,044. And these are toxic. And just a couple weeks ago, the air was not breathable from the fires in Canada at one point during the day. And the issue that was raised, oh, there's an energy shortage. What are you talking about? We don't have any energy shortage, we're fine. Power outages. If there's a bad storm and trees go down, yeah, there's power outage. And wires have to be repaired. I gotta say, no, and everybody should see the Clearview website that has the map. California, Texas, up the East Coast, and some scattered throughout the United States that we've accumulated for about the past 20 years without people knowing it. I got a good friend living in North Carolina, and I'm horrified at how many of those are around her. And relatives, too. We can't keep doing this. It's toxic, it's dangerous, and we don't need it. We do not need it. We haven't needed it before, we don't need it now. Okay.
Thank you.
Eileen Ryan.
I'm Eileen Ryan. I live on Washington Avenue, right across from Cantine. About a month ago, I gave a report, a statement here, and I actually even emailed it to everybody on the board, planning board, etc., about the threat of cyber attacks, the vulnerability to BESS. Given the news right now, we've had 30 water systems attacked in Minnesota. And in our own backyard, Sawyer Savings Bank was just shut down due to a third-party intervention. So I do have one question to ask. Ms. Bassler, I'd like to direct it to you. You seem to have a broad information scope on all of these things. So what are the safeguards planned to keep Saugerties from being vulnerable to vast cyber attacks?
I haven't seen information from the applicant about the specific plans for cybersecurity, so I can't answer that question.
Does that concern you? That you see nothing? Pardon?
I'm not concerned about,
Cyber attacks?
of course I'm concerned about cyber attacks. I don't have a concern about the material submitted by the applicant because I haven't seen it. I can't speak to that.
You haven't seen the material from the applicant?
They're not in front of the town board for review. They're in front of the planning board. I haven't seen all of the
Okay,
materials.
I'll just finish reading that report that I did last month. So, attackers can disrupt lithium battery storage facilities by targeting the digital infrastructure that manages their safety and performance. Because these plants are increasingly connected to the internet for remote monitoring, they present several cyber physical entry points. Attackers can hijack the battery management system to override safety protocols by forcing batteries to operate outside safe voltage and temperature thresholds. They can trigger a thermal runaway, which would lead to fires and explosions. Hackers can spoof sensor readings, tricking the plant's controllers into seeing normal status while the system is actually failing. For example, they might mask a temperature spike so that the cooling system does not activate. By overwhelming the plant's communication network, attackers can block essential stop or charge commands. This can cause the plant to stop responding to the grid demands or become blind to operators during a critical malfunction. In 2026, agencies have already identified ongoing disruptions to program logic controllers, that's part of the BESS system, across the energy sector from Iranian-affiliated groups, showing the attackers continuously adapt to new defenses.
Thank you.
It's pretty scary.
Thank you. Pat Fairhurst.
My name is Pat Fairhurst, and I wanted to say that I am
Pat, the
against...
microphones are directional. So,
Speak into the mic. Okay, my name is Pat Fairhurst, and I wanted to say that I'm against the battery storage plant.
Please speak into the mic.
It's not
We
working.
can't quite hear you. Put it up. Into the
Okay.
mic.
I wanted to say that I'm against the battery storage plant being built in the village and town of Saugerties, and I ask you to put a moratorium in place to make sure it doesn't happen. 98 other towns have already placed moratoriums in place. Ulster County is considered one of the greenest counties in New York, and we should all want to keep it that way. Our property values will be affected. In the case of an explosion, our water, air, and land and homes will suffer damage. Put a moratorium in place and make Saugerties the 99th town to ban BESS facilities.
Joan Buck.
My name is Joan Buck. I live on Market Street. I have one question. At the meeting in June, the full board gave the gentleman from Key Energy Capture confirmation that they wanted a site-specific dispersion analysis in case of an event at the lithium storage. Has this been received by the board?
I don't want to consume your time. If I get talking, you won't have any time left to make all your points.
Excuse me, sorry?
If I start speaking, you'll consume all your time. Just continue.
If you
with your
search,
point. I'm sorry?
if you search what?
If I begin speaking, I will consume your entire.
That's okay, that's it, that's my question, so
Okay.
please speak.
All right, thank you.
Would you like me to sit down again before you
Yeah,
speak?
that's it, you're set. Thank you.
Are you,
Karen, citizen.
wait, what about the answer?
There's an
3
opportunity
minutes
in
are
the
not
meeting.
enough.
I'm sorry.
This is not working.
I'm sorry, I asked a question you didn't
One
answer.
question. In June, the entire board confirmed to Key Capture Energy that they want, by saying yes, 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 that they were asking for, that you are asking for, a site-specific dispersion analysis. My question is, has that happened? Has that been received? Have you seen it? That's the question.
You got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
Yes or no?
I'll address your comment during supervisor's.
It's a question.
Okay, so we'll go back a little bit. This started because our building department made the determination that battery energy storage is an allowable use in the industrial zone in the town of Saugerties. Key Capture site is within the industrial zone. This letter was delivered to them indicating that they have right to access the planning process. That's an important the important point to provide the answer you're looking for. That type of information will not come to us directly. The planning board, which I have confidence in, and we are giving them the resources this evening to make a well-informed, educated decision, will get that type of information delivered to them. If Key Capture can satisfy the concern of the planning board, the process is what they're entitled to. They are not entitled to an approval. It is incumbent upon the planning board to feel comfortable and confident that this project meets those thresholds. It's not going to happen before the town board. And with regard to a moratorium, moratoriums are employed by local governments with the implication that the town government, or the local government in that case, wants to buy a period of time, typically 6 months, to develop zoning changes in anticipation of the proliferation of those projects. We have not matured to a point where we're ready to amend the zoning to incorporate BESS into other districts at this point, or change the zoning that is being presented in the industrial zone. So I don't know the relevance of a moratorium for our community.
I didn't say a word about moratorium.
Well, I asked you, I'm answering your question, and I'm answering some of the other concerns that were brought before me this evening as well.
We're supposed to waste your 2 minutes answering someone else's questions.
I didn't
Site-specific
want to say a word, you
dispersion
folks persuaded me
analysis.
to do that, and I am trying to be respectful. We will not get that document. That will go to the planning board. The planning board will review it with the help of the consultants that we are sponsoring on their behalf.
And when it was sent to you, why didn't you just tell them, respond to it then?
It
If
wasn't
the
sent to
request
them.
was sent to you,
What request?
If the request was made here,
yeah. why
in
didn't
an
you
open
just say-
meeting,
Right.
everybody said yes. This was on June 16th.
Yeah, I'm confident that they're going to do that with
3
the
months
planning
ago.
board. They're engaging in the planning process. This isn't something that's going to get approved in 2 meetings. It's going to take time for them to go through the planning process. And it will be
The
presented.
question's not about approval. It's about, did you get a document, a
That will be
site-specific?
part of their package that they present at a planning board meeting and to the planning board. It will not come to the town board.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Karen citizen?
My name is Karen, I reside.
Karen, you're gonna have to address the board.
What?
Use the podium and address the board.
I am looking at you
No,
and them.
you're gonna use the microphone. and
I don't
speak
want to
up.
use the microphone. Can
You
you?
have to use the microphone and you have to address us. It's
I'm-
for our benefit. Your comments are here for
My
our
name,
benefit.
can you not hear this?
No.
No.
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He wants, I have to address the board.
You want to use the mic.
My name is Karen. I reside on Old Stage Road, 7 miles from the proposed site. Rather than repeat the format of the last 3 sessions, I yield 2 minutes and 20 seconds of my 3 minutes to Micah Ivino, who has been on the board for 6 years, to, in his own words, articulate the benefits of this project to Saugerties residents. I request that broad talking points already presented by Key Capture not be reiterated. If you cannot or will not answer, please say so I can reclaim my 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
If you look at tonight's agenda, we are adding something in there If you look at tonight's agenda, there's a motion in there to hire Code Red as a third-party consultant. Once they conclude their findings, I'll have an answer for you.
Okay, so your answer is no answer. I believe I
I
have
believe my answer is pretty clear.
No, I don't think
It is.
so. Because Code Red, I have at least a minute. Code Red was implemented today or at this meeting. And so I don't understand, if Key Capture made a presentation at some point to this board, don't you ask, hey, how does this represent or benefit the citizens of Saugerties, since you are to be the first line of defense
You
and
don't think hiring a third-party consultant who's in this field and knows more than us is a good idea? Take their comments and their concerns
that,
as a
it
third-party
doesn't
consultant?
matter. I think that's great that you're doing it in addition. What my question is to you as a board member, how do you see, without the experts commenting, this as a benefit to Saugerties? So to answer your question, yes, I think it is, but this is separate from that.
No, it's not.
Okay, so no answer. I think that's
You
important.
can't make decisions uneducated.
I didn't make a decision. I asked you.
I'm answering for myself.
Okay,
You're out
so-
of line. You're very rude and disrespectful.
Okay, so you hide behind something. I guess that makes
I'm
us
not
even.
behind anything.
You are not answering.
Stephen Schaefer.
Good evening, Stephen Schaefer, 8 Minor
Don't
Street.
talk behind my back. If you have something to say, you say it to me.
Ma'am, you're gonna have to behave orderly. We didn't disrupt you when you spoke, so please, we did not disrupt you when you spoke.
Does that
We're not
apply
gonna
to the
disrupt
first?
anybody, so please be respectful and respect the new speaker, okay?
If you make it universal, that'd be great.
It is universal.
No, he
one is
just
being
mumbled
disrespectful.
under his breath at me.
I didn't hear him say anything,
Okay,
so please be respectful.
I will.
Thank you. Mayor Schaefer, go ahead.
I'm going to read very fast words from Bill McKibben. Oil companies with their algae ads and centrist politicians with their hope for a painless transition aren't the only wishful thinkers. There's a strain of thought traveling under the banner of degrowth that strikes me as equally unrealistic and almost as likely to divert us from the work we must quickly do. There's a hard version of this idea that the world lacks the minerals to build out a future powered by sun and wind, and that even making the attempt will just result in a landscape-shattering last spasm of industrial extraction. It turns out weaning the planet off fossil fuels would mean far less mining and a sharp reduction in useless economic activity. 40% of the world's ship traffic, for instance, consists of moving coal and gas and oil back and forth across the ocean to be burned, the delivery job the sun accomplishes each morning as it moves across the heavens. There's also a softer and smarter version of this idea, which argues that the pursuit of ever larger GDP has turned into a trap for societies, that we'd be wise to reorient ourselves around measures like gross national happiness that attempt to balance lots of different goals. I continue to find this logic compelling, but not as a reason to delay the project. of converting the planet to sun and wind energy. There's a third version of this argument that worries me the most, and it's the idea that if we all simply lived more modestly, we wouldn't need any of this technology. We could avoid the need for building solar arrays and wind turbines and still head off the climate crisis. The reason this rendering of the argument worries me is that it's so sane. We manifestly don't need larger cars, and over a longer time frame, I think we'll come to realize that. But I don't think there's any chance of it happening in the next few years relevant to the outcome of the climate crisis. Remember, the world's climate scientists have told us we need to cut our emissions in half by 2030, and people simply do not change their desires that fast. Even if you could convince everyone to make massive lifestyle changes, it wouldn't be enough to head off the gathering climate crisis. We know this because of a large-scale natural experiment called COVID-19. In March and April 2020, people across the world changed their lives far more profoundly than any environmentalist could ever have envisioned. Every plane was grounded, people hunkered down in their homes and stopped driving, stopped buying, stopped doing much of anything. And emissions did drop, but only by about 10% at the bottom of the pandemic. There's a great global machine undergirding our civilization, and at the moment it runs on hydrocarbons.
Steven, you gotta finish the sentence.
But it doesn't need to. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Sanchez?
Hello, I have two questions. One is for Mike Uvino, if you don't mind asking, I'll be asking these questions. To my understanding, from what I've read, Kingston has all the training for the fire protection in case there is a thermal runaway.
Kingston is the county's hazmat response team. If a situation within our town rises to a response that needs a hazmat team that's outside of our scope, that's who we would call.
Okay, thank you. So that's outside of the scope of salaries. Like, to my understanding, we don't have that here. And I feel like we would need to have that here.
The city of Kingston is the hazmat team for the county of Ulster.
Okay.
Any incident within the county of Ulster that is hazmat related gets a response from the city of Kingston.
All right, I understand that. I guess the concern would be the response time in case there was something to happen. Do you know what that would be?
Again, I'm going to refer to our third-party consultant.
Okay.
When they review the project, if it comes to that point, we can address that at that given time.
Okay, thank you. And Fred, I have a question for you. I just wanted to know if there's any kind of study so far or any other information that perhaps I don't know or others may not know about what would be the general outcome, because to my understanding with the KCE battery, when they were here, I don't know when they were here, a few months ago, giving their presentation about that they had no intentions at all of doing any upgrades on the batteries, and they admitted that eventually they would decline over time. So is this going to be another IBM or Frox Cube, or we're stuck holding the bag?
Will not be an IBM or Frox Cube. One of the things that the town does for solar energy and for BESS, when we get to that point, is we will ask for a decommissioning bond. So if the facility becomes abandoned or obsolete, the town, the future folks with our responsibility, will have a resource to remove the structures.
Yeah, is that written in the contract?
Yeah, we actually get
Okay.
we get a bond, and sometimes they give us cash. Most of the time, they buy a bond on our behalf, and it is the town's asset.
Okay, because I would hope that this is, like you say, written in the contract, and they will follow through with it.
Yeah.
Because we definitely don't need another IBM or Frox Cube,
No,
in what I call my bedroom. Okay, thank you.
thank you. Blue shear? Scar, I apologize.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, is this better? Okay. I'm Lou Scar, I live at 62 Marianne Avenue. I'm actually here to congratulate our board, the town board. They voted 4-0 to put a moratorium on the BEST project. And this is after hearing all of us talk. And we're just average people.
Village.
Okay, we are not special people. We're lawyers, we're whatever, but we're not special people. But they heard us. And I think that's really nice that they heard us. I don't know whether you are listening to us, but this is really important to us, that you hear us. Most of the people here, if not all, are very against this, okay? But this board listened to us. So I'm saying to you, you're good people. I know you're good people. So why don't you hear us? Why don't you? I'd like you to take a second to consider the facts that all of the things we could talk about have been talked about already, so many times. We could go over it one more time. We have to do it again. That's all.
Thank you. Bill Farrow.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'd like to say that I believe Mr. Arvino was here the last 2 times ago. I missed the last one because of the wired in my house. And when he was going around with the microphone, he was saying that we are totally prepared, our fire department is totally prepared for an event come from this. Because it was right behind me when I heard for one. For two, this is like so ungreen that you could not possibly make it worse. You just got to go on the computer and look at the sodium-ion batteries are exploding. You know, the companies BDY, CATL in China, they are exploding and they're using it specifically for this type of thing, for long-term storage in large areas. And the technology is like changing so fast. And there's another company that is called Goten Company, and these are 3 large Chinese companies. And VW just bought into Goten 30%. So these companies are producing non-toxic, completely sodium all over the planet. It's cheaper. Actually, the inner density is better, and you don't have to worry about all this toxic runoff and polluting the noise. It's still not perfect because you still have the noise pollution, the light pollution, and the EMS, which nobody is really addressing. But all you got to do is go and listen to the immense amount of information that is on the computer with people that are describing these companies and what they started mass producing the sodium-ion batteries last year. So when I was here and speaking, and Mr. Joel said, "Oh, this is a myth." The myth is that he's telling the truth because he knows, because he's an energy specialist. He knows that they're mass producing sodium ion all over the planet, and they're producing them specifically for battery storage because they know lithium was never made for this. And it's an old technology started in the 1950s. Actually, Ford Motor Company, and then they sold it to another U.S. company, and then a Japanese company, and finally a Chinese company that actually had the money in the wherewithal to bring it through. And it was Canadian man that actually made a hard carbon, which made it facilitated where the sodium is just way over the top better. It doesn't address all the issues, like I said, it doesn't address the noise, it doesn't address the other pollutions, but it addresses toxicity. Lithium is toxic. It's toxic from beginning, from the mining institutions. And sodium's all over the planet, so it's so much cheaper. I stress everybody look into this themselves. So look into these companies that say CALT, BYD, and Goten. These are all, and that they have a company in the United States too. It's a Chinese company, you know, and you will see that it's much better.
Thank you.
And that's one question for Mr. Arvino.
Janet Hassan.
You were here.
What's your question?
Your question, the question was, you said that you were prepared. You were prepared for
Thank you, Bill.
everything.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, we didn't answer the
Ms.
question.
Hassan's time now.
Can everybody hear me? I'm not here to speak directly about the many reasons I oppose this particular BEST in Saugerties,
Plenty of other people are doing that better than I would. Although my thinking about it goes well beyond safety concerns and actual relevance of this battery facility for Saugerties itself. 3 minutes wouldn't begin to be enough time to explain the multiple dangers of the short-term thinking that massive build-out of renewables, including battery storage, is represented by this proposal. My deeper concern with this and many other issues lies in what I consider the undemocratic way this town's governing officials make decisions, and especially the big ones. I was taught in school that I cast my vote to elect officials who represent their constituents and not make decisions for them. But that doesn't seem to be the way you see your roles. For you to vote for or against this best proposal based on what the residents of Saugerties want, you have to determine our collective wishes. Instead, you ask us to put our trust in private meetings with you individually, behind closed doors, and this ineffectual device of public comment in which a handful of people like me, who may or may not represent any of the residents at all, get 3 minutes to explain complex positions and information, none of which you are obligated to take into account in any formal way. It's a shameful perversion of authentic democracy. Your job is to manifest the public will, not impose your own. With the public platform that comes with your jobs, you're welcome to try to persuade us that what you want is best, but we're as smart as you are, and in a democracy, we get to decide. I would much rather live with a decision I disagreed with made by the citizens of Saugerties at large than by a tiny handful of 5 people who couldn't possibly know and don't do what's necessary to find out what the constituents want. I read in the local weekly today that the supervisor believes that 1/3 of us support approval of this, 1/3 are opposed, and 1/3 just don't know. How did he arrive at such tidy numbers? The supervisor's pronouncement, whether based on his intuition or his imagination, is just not good enough to give the board this kind of authority. Decision-making power belongs in the hands of the people, not just the decision to vote every now and then for elected officials, but on substantive issues that are of major significance for the community, and which once made cannot be unmade. It's not about what you personally think or want. Real democracy demands that elected officials find out what all their constituents want and represent them accordingly. Conducting a poll or a referendum would go a long way to restoring confidence in your judgment and motivations. I recommend we give democracy a try. Let's start with the decision, the best decision. I wouldn't consider a board vote otherwise democratically valid.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Susan, I live in the village. I've been to many of these meetings and I'm grateful that so many community members have taken the time to speak about their very serious concerns. In the last few months, we've heard from a brave senior citizen concerned about the possibility of having to evacuate, a high school student concerned about their safety, the safety of a best facility so close to the schools, a former firefighter concerned about our first responders, a doctor concerned about toxic chemicals. I'm grateful to you for listening. What we're doing here is we're asking you to fight for us. We are going to hold you accountable for the safety and well-being of this community. And if anything does go wrong, this will be your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Diedrich.
Hi, Sam Diedrich, Kings Highway. I understand that you on the town board have been receiving numerous complaints about a rooster. As fourth-generation farmers, my husband and I are saddened by the people who believe they have a right to complete silence in a rural residential area. Keeping chickens is not farming per se. It is something that people have been doing for literally 4 to 10,000 years. The sound of a rooster is a beautiful thing that assures us all that is right in our world. It is proof of our diversity and resiliency and our right to promote self-sufficiency. Having a person who moves to a rural area, who writes and calls constantly, claiming that he's receiving recurring damage due to crowing from a rooster, is a sure sign that we are losing our rural community. These people could very easily embrace the crowing as a sign of rural life, but instead are using ever-increasing amounts of hostile energy to believe it is an insult to them, to demand that only their rights matter. They act like they believe that living in the country means silence. That is a fallacy. People everywhere make noise, and we have the right to it. In the village, it's traffic and business. In the country, it's dogs barking, roosters crowing, people with lawnmowers, leaf blowers, motorcycles. The list of noise goes on and on. We have a human right to make noise, along with our children, our pets, and the wildlife that surrounds us. I hope that you all will stand united against these people who are making a mountain out of a molehill and trying very hard to change our rural community into their own personal homeowners association, where they have the right to dictate to their neighbors what they can and cannot do. If you give in to the demands of these people, you are giving away our rural rights, our rights to self-sufficiency, and you will be embracing cosmopolitan values. I believe that if they have a problem, they need to consider personal solutions to that problem. It's a problem that should not be considered at all out of the ordinary in the rural area where they live. Living in the country does not, should not, come with a guarantee of silence, but comes with country sounds. Even if you decided to write a chicken law, I would hope that chickens and roosters would always be allowed in MDR and LDR, as roosters are necessary to breed chickens for meat and eggs. The cost of living has skyrocketed, and people are turning to their backyards to help them stay afloat. Please protect our rural community.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Joanne Pagano, Weber.
Hi, thank you for giving us a chance to hear our views. Joanne Pagano Weber, I live at 30 Austin Avenue in Saugerties here. I've listened to many smart people on both sides of the argument of best. I just want to say for the record, not to enumerate all these things again, that I am not convinced that this is a good idea for our town, and I'm even more convinced that it isn't tonight than I was before tonight. I just would ask, and I will, as you are going to, evaluate what is going to be put forth by the third-party consultants, and that I will do the same thing. But I do hope that at the utmost, as others have said, that you of the board listen to the concerns of the people of the town and put that at the forefront. So I wanted to say that about that's how I feel about that, put that on the record as a citizen here. I also wanted to just post something that I've been thinking about. I know others have too that I know, and that is the town board considers the condition of our local town beach. That is a great resource, I think, for the town, and it seems to be wallowing either with algae or whatever kind of growth is going on, and it doesn't seem to be used as it could be. And I just really hope that you would look into that and possibly put some monies toward that. It's not even a question, it's just a statement. I know others have said this, so and I feel that way too. All right, thank you so much for this moment. Thank you.
Aaron Chappelle.
Hello, I'm Erin. had a whole thing written out on how the board is meant to speak, vote based on what we want, but unfortunately I can't say it better than Janet said it previous to me. So I just had one very quick question. $150,000 a year is all this town will get from this project, is that true?
There's no way for me to predict that or answer that. At this time, we are not in negotiation for a pilot.
Okay. That's the number that's floating around. If it's true, I find that to be a laughable, insulting amount of money. I don't think it's worth the health and safety of us, our children, my children. I just don't think any of this is worth it. I'm excited to see what the third-party consultant has to find. But I also did want to come up here and just make you aware they did send an email that I find to be a little important. It's about veteran tax breaks. I sent it about over a month ago. Nobody's responded, which I also find insulting. Leanne, your email doesn't work. Actually, the email address that's posted on the town website, I just wanted to make you aware. It bounced back. Thank you.
That concludes the list of folks who signed up to speak. Was there someone who did not have an opportunity that would like to address the board? Okay, move on. Supervisor's comments. I'd like to thank you all for being here with us this evening and keeping the comments within the 3 minutes. I know that doesn't feel like a lot, but cumulatively, we have dedicated a significant amount of time to hearing your concerns and brought folks in from all across the country, quite frankly, to help our understanding as well as yours. One of the things that strikes me in the comments we heard this evening was the assertion that somehow we don't take our responsibility seriously. I've had the honor of working with some of these folks for a very long time, and I've had the honor of working with some of the members not quite as long. Everybody takes this job very seriously when they get it. I've benefited from other people's perspectives in so many ways. It's helped helps me develop as a person, not having the luxury of thinking about what I want. I have to think as best I can about what everybody else may want. In that context, if somebody walked up to me during the holiday season in 2025 and said, hey, what do you think about this? I'd be like, is that something to do with the dairy cow? I had very little knowledge about this. Since that time, and since this has come to us, we have invested an extraordinary amount of time in trying to understand it, to learn about it, and we all have computers too, so we can pop on there and see the large fires that have occurred. And we've asked that question, and the answers we've gotten are that the current energy code reflects what are the practices now, and many of those catastrophic instances were based on the old energy code. And I get it. The Titanic was unsinkable, so we're relying on engineers and folks that we don't know personally, and there's money involved, so there's every possible reason to be skeptical. As I was listening to some of the comments, and we fully understand that. We're reaching out to professionals. I think one of the first presentations we held here was as arm's length as you could get. They didn't have any financial stake. And that information I found very informative, very valuable. And I think for anyone who came, you might have heard things you didn't want to hear, depending on which side of this you may be on. But I think it was helpful. In some of the conversations I've been having, I think about when I was a young man going to the grocery store with my mom. And as we were in the checkout line after I didn't get the cereal I wanted, you would see these tabloid magazines, World News, Inquirer, and all these other ones. And you knew a famous celebrity wasn't really an alien. And you knew that Elvis wasn't living on a Caribbean island. And I was a young man, and I knew better. Since then, we are in the information age, and it is much more difficult to tell real news from fake news, and we all can agree on that. And simply seeing something on the internet doesn't make it true or false, no matter what they're saying. If you look at an article about best that says it's the greatest thing since the invention of the light bulb, there's going to be a feed showing you 10 more articles that reinforce that perspective. If you look up the fire that happened in California, there's going to be 10 more articles in your feed the next day reinforcing that perspective. It is hard to come out of yourself and look at this in some type of objective light, and then you have to ask the question, who is saying this? Why are they qualified to say it? And should I believe them? That's not an easy position for any of us to be in. And I can speak frankly and tell you that we all understand that. In addition to all of the effort that we have made to try to educate ourselves publicly, I will remind you, we did those here. We have also had some consultation with folks that not everyone was privy to, but we have not made any decisions behind a closed door. That's just not happening. We're not doing that. That's folks are free to say or whatever they want, but that is a propaganda type statement, and it erodes my ability to take a comment that comes out of that person's mouth seriously afterwards. That's a bias I have. I'm willing to share that, but we are not doing that. We took time 2 weeks ago to organize a trip on the invitation of Key Capture to Hamburg, New York, where they operate a facility smaller than what's being proposed for here. It wasn't on my list. If I'm going to Buffalo, I want to see the Bills, eat some wings. I wasn't going there to look at a bunch of things that look like a storage container behind a fence. But we have an obligation to all of you and to all the other folks who think this might be a good idea, and to the folks that aren't paying quite as much attention as either party. So we went, and on my mind was, how loud is this thing going to be? What are the protocols if there is a catastrophic incident? And the answers we got, albeit from representatives from Key Capture and local officials who were generous in spending time with us, were, when we stood there, it was pretty much the same thing you'd experience if you were standing in a parking lot of a retail box store. You heard the air conditions click on and off, you heard the best facility click on and off and run, and you heard the fans cooling it while it was happening. We carried our conversation on. You knew it was running, but it wasn't much more extraordinary than my pool filter when it wasn't working well. The other thing that struck me was there's yellow boxes attached to the gates that encumber the facility. And this facility, I think, is relevant in another way. It is in basically a residential neighborhood. It's 1,000 feet from homes in two directions, and there's probably less than 1,000 feet from some operating businesses. The boxes offer instructions to the first responders. They trained the first responding community up there, and they have a similar relationship because Hamburg is a relatively small community, similar to the arrangements we have here with our fire districts. The defensive posture is set up outside of the facility. You don't go in. That's the training that they offer. You report back to the technicians. Is there visible smoke? Is there fire? There is not instructions to put water or for anyone to enter. So it's important, if this moves forward, that our first responders are trained to follow those best practices. In the event of a thermal runaway, they will be able to contain that into the boxes. The reason these are laid out the way they are is they are so many feet from the one next to them. So the catastrophic fires where they put vests in buildings on multiple floors offered a lot of combustible material for those fires to get out of control. The new design is they spread them out. They're 10 feet in each direction or some code requirement, but the intention is there's no combustible material to allow thermal runaway to travel through the entire facility. This is all the science that we've been offered. We can trust that information, we have to verify it, and that's what the planning process is for. These folks are going to come to the planning process. We can ask our questions, we can get answers. We have resources to check those answers. One of the resources will be an independent consultant that we're bringing on board on behalf of the planning board. But the planning board they're just average folks like us, and they're gonna do a good job too. They're not just gonna, hey, yeah, this is great, rubber stamp. Nobody's interested in that. Or, you know, they'll take their responsibility seriously, and they'll make sure that their environmental concerns are addressed and the safety concerns are addressed before they offer an approval for the project. But I want to go back to a point, and I don't think it's resonating for some reason. It has been determined by the building department that energy storage fits into the energy storage and distribution section of our zoning law. That gives key capture in this case, or another developer who finds property in the industrial zone, the opportunity to engage the planning process. A moratorium in Saugerties for the rest of the town is pretty much irrelevant because that privilege that's outlined in the zoning in the industrial zone does not extend to anywhere else at this point. So as we move forward and this matures, there may be a point in the future where the town board might say, hey, you know, a lot of solar facilities that are being installed in people's residences or on commercial structures have a battery, albeit not a utility scale one, but, you know, that's in conflict with the law, so do we need to address that? Not having that conversation now, but I'm trying to give some perspective into the future. But for now, a utility scale one is not allowed, period. So a moratorium will be about as relevant as us passing a resolution that you can't rob banks. You can't do it already under law. So those areas of the community are not eligible for a BESS facility to go to the planning process. The industrial zone, fortunately or unfortunately, is. So that being said, I will not support interrupting their right to go to the planning process. And I'm not saying that as a position of advocating for or against. When I first got elected to the town government, one of the first executive sessions I had to participate in, Supervisor Hellsmore at the time gave us copies of a court order that the town had lost its case against a company called Bonded Concrete. And their judgment was $3.5 million, and we had to pay it. So this was not anything that I had anticipated when I decided to run for office. What do? We consulted with our attorneys. They were able to negotiate that settlement down to a $500 settlement, which largely covered the legal fees. They were awarded that much money because a town board back then interrupted their application to the planning process. As much as we may or may not like zoning, and there was some expressions for and against laws that do this evening, it is there. And that book, as much as it tells you you can't do something on your property, it also gives you a lot of rights to do things on your property. And in this instance, it's my belief that they have engaged, they're vested in the planning process, and they have the right to the planning process. So, that being said, once again, I don't see where a moratorium will benefit us in any other districts in the town because those areas are not eligible for the planning process. In the industrial zone, it has already been established, and there has been some legal precedent established that the interpretation that now retired Mr. Weeks offered is the right interpretation. There have been cases where boards have interrupted the planning process and courts have ordered them back to allow the planning process. So that's where we are. And we're going to work in support of the planning board as much as we can, and we're going to try to think ahead into the future to try to give some perspective on why this is happening. And again, we're going back to where did the information come from, why is it relevant, should we believe it? Well, ISO is a government organization, and for some folks that's going to make their skin crawl right out the gate, but they manage the energy grid. And there's data, and it's been verified by others, and it has been shared in this room by two different organizations, one from NYSERDA and I believe Professor
Joel Seidman.
Okay, offered that during the heat wave last year, the grid hit its maximum, and they called upon large institutions such as hospitals to start their generators not because power was out, but to supplement the grid because the demand for electricity was exceeding the capacity of the grid to provide it. There's a lot of data that tells that same story. We are consuming electricity faster than we used to. I have a partially electric car. I have air conditioning. Many of you do. When I had a home, I had a swimming pool. Some people heat. If you have a mini split, it's a very efficient way to heat your home, but that's consuming electricity as well. So as we become more reliant on electricity versus natural gas or oil, the demand on the grid is increasing, and that is happening all across the country. And it happened in Texas in a catastrophic way during a winter storm where the power grid failed. People with mini splits did not have a way to heat their home, and some folks who couldn't get help passed. Texas' response to that is they deployed BESS at a rate that far exceeds any other state in the country, and since then they have, there's evidence to suggest that they stabilized energy prices and they haven't suffered one of those brownouts again. That's just a piece of information I want you to take home with you. You don't have to subscribe to it, but those are things that happen. And as you go home, and you should verify everything I'm saying, but mind you, if you look at another article, you're going to find something to reinforce it. So if I Google as out speaking, the computer will happily share the information that I'm trying to share with you. We have to be thoughtful about that. You can't just keep searching the same thing. You have to reset your mind and go back out and talk to people who can independently do that. And I think Mr. Seidman and the firefighter from New York City and the individual from NYSERDA, when they spoke here, I felt like that was very loud. They weren't getting paid to be here. They were volunteers. They stayed till almost 11 o'clock. Some of them had to go back to New York City. Their wealth of knowledge is incredible. The gentleman who came here from Key Capture, and certainly we have to take some of what he said with a grain of salt because he gets paid to be there, but his breadth of knowledge is extraordinary. And you know, our fossil fuel infrastructure is lagging. There was an effort to help consumers, which we appreciate, but when they deregulate the energy markets, the investment in energy creation pretty much fell off. And for good environmental reasons, we closed a significant portion of the energy being generated in the Hudson Valley. We closed the nuclear power plant by Tappan Zee Bridge, and we did Indian Point, thank you, Bill. And you know, we didn't really replace that. And the power plant in Marlborough or Milton is long exceeded its useful life, and it operates under a special variance from ISO because we need the energy even though that plant is deficient, inefficient, and polluting. So you know, we have some tough choices as a nation. And unfortunately, we don't plan for our future, we respond to our future. So if we get to 2032, 2035, and we're suffering brownouts, you'll bet they'll put in BESS, they'll build power plants that we didn't appreciate because it'll be under an emergency order. We have an opportunity here to do this in a meaningful way. We're only a small community, but let's put our energy forward and see if we can try to minimize any risks or concerns we may have and get some real information about what we did. I happily shared the eyewitness stuff that I went, and I was a little bit disappointed, quite frankly, because we have hosted at every meeting since this broke folks who have expressed deep concern and deep opposition, and we extended the offer to bring you with us to Hamburg, and no one took it. I get people have busy lives, but you know, I would have, if someone from the public came, I would have really appreciated that, but no one came. So here we are. You have to either make your own arrangement to go see the BESS facility or take our word that we saw it, and you know, it made noise, but it wasn't anything more significant than what we experience when we go to a grocery store. There was concerns about fireman safety because they had volunteer force. There was clear instructions before we went in. There was a yellow box attached to the fence, and firefighters showing up were trained by the industry to respond appropriately. That gave me some comfort that that 500-foot line to secure it is relevant, and it's not much different than serious structure fire for a home or certainly a large commercial structure. So, we have to try to give this some perspective. Those were my observations. If the group of you want to try to visit, I think we would, on your behalf, ask them to extend the same courtesy they did to us. The local officials we spoke to there and in other communities haven't pointed to overly concerned. We're trying to do our homework here, and none of us are experts in this field, and none of us thought, hey, we're brainstorming, and it would be a good idea. Let's sponsor a PES application here. The zoning book says it can happen, and we're responding to that in an appropriate way as best we can, and we certainly are not discounting anything you say. Although I did share the bias that when you make an outrageous comment, I try not to, but it certainly prejudices what you say next. I apologize for that. But all right, I'm not going to offer any other supervisor comment. We'll move on to the regular meeting. Thank you. Ask for approval of minutes, pre-board meeting 7/15/26, town board meeting 7/15/26, town board workshop meeting 7/15/26, emergency town board meeting 8/4/26.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Vino. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of bills. General fund, $141,768.98. General outside village, $44,432.30. Highway, $54,118.24. Capital projects, $640,406.16. Ambulance district, $139,734.42. Sewer operation and maintenance, $34.31. Water operation and maintenance, $3,853.57. Now the sewer, $11,565.01. Trusted agency, nope. Oh, water operation and maintenance, $11,565.01. Central Hudson, $35,084. Is there a second? Second. Discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to department head reports. Mr. Hanson? Nothing. Okay, thank you. Chief Swart?
Last week, we participated in the first National Night Out, kind of a national movement that started in the 70s. About...
All right, folks, I had a microphone, department heads don't, so please be courteous. If you want to leave, you're free to do so, but if you're going to remain, try not to make any noise that would be disruptive to the reports.
I can talk louder. I mean, I suppose I can use the microphone too. There we go. A little bit better now?
Much better.
It's a community event that's designed, where the purpose of it is to foster relations between the police departments and the community it serves. And I think the officers generally had a great time that night, and all the community members that showed up. So we had somewhere just north of 50 kids that showed up along with their parents. It was a really good night. We're trying to do it again next year. We have started planning for the Garlic Festival and the Triathlon, that are both back-to-back in mid and late September, so we're working on those. Last month, we started dedicated patrols for the Comfort Inn. Comfort has been used as a DSS placement. Had some negotiations with DSS, Finley Woodstock, and the hotel. And starting in July, we did dedicated patrols. We're continuing that through August, and we're going to continue that at the expense of the hotel owner until crime rates go down in that area. We continue to try to locate and hire new police officers to refill our staff levels back up to where they were. We're working with civil service to do that. We've been working on that for a while. And tomorrow is another physical agility exam at Saugerties High School to try to return some candidates. That's what happened.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for your efforts. I know it takes a little time to put those together, but I've been grateful for the number of officers who are participating in those. It's pretty, makes me feel good, so.
Yeah, it's been a really good thing.
Really great things, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Jarvis?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The playground at J.C. Field will officially be opening on Friday. Behind on the schedule, but what else is new with projects and endeavors? The contractor had delays on another job up in the Albany area, and then Mother Nature was not very cooperative at all. We did pull out of the contract the restoration and the siding simply because we didn't have the money, which we did in-house. And sod is just about knitted. Prior to that, the basketball court was completed. We did experience erosion on the item 4 that was put on the east end. It's pitched in that direction with 1.5% pitch. And I think we're going to take that out and put a blacktop apron in. But that was the specification that the engineer wrote. And speaking of the weather, the number of torrential rainstorms, rain events that we've had dropped copious amounts of rain in short time windows has led to quite a bit of erosion on our fields, especially the skin portion. We experienced likewise on our trails and also the road up to the dog park. A new catch basin that was put in just adjacent to the pickleball court to accommodate the subsurface drainage. Half of it got washed away, and that has since been repaired. We did lose a Bradford pear, another one that's split. But these were first generation Bradford pears that were put in years ago, which were not very good. They're into 4th generation now, much more harder, stronger tree. We had tree damage at Mount Marion and also at Twin Maples. The ice arena opened August the 2nd. Primarily in August, it's private ice, camps, clinics, etc. Although in the late afternoon, early evening, there's been public sessions and public drop-in has been very, very well attended. We submitted our CFA grant at the end of July for our trails. This was our 6th go at the trails, and then also for the reconstruction of the tennis courts. Our multi-pro workman finally got delivered over a year. And I just want to end by extending my thanks and appreciation to the city of Kingston, who sent their back truck up, their jet back truck. Many of our catch basins were in desperate need of cleaning or clogged, and they also took care of our drainage pipe. So I'd like again to thank the city of Kingston. They were here the entire day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Young? John? Mr. Lowry?
Good evening. As Mr. Torres stated, the last couple of weeks we had covered a lot of torrential downpours and heavy winds. 2 weeks ago, we had 9 road closures due to flooding roads. Within 24 hours, 8 of them were up, back and running, open. Within 48 hours, all 9 were up. As you might know, our Malden district took a pretty good hit for that storm. We lost part of First Street. Within that 48 hours, we had a couple crews over there, opening basins and making the road safe, and now it's passable till we get, we're going to upgrade our drainage on the bottom half, which we did 2 years ago. We did the top half, and now we're going to do the bottom half with catch basins and 2-foot pipe. So that'll be in the forecast for the next several weeks. We've been working on a drainage project on in front of the highway complex. That road is due to be resurfaced end of this year or next year. That's going to be postponed a little bit, a couple weeks due to the Mountain project. Our guys have been working on our 284 form. You know, we present to you guys every year, prepping roads for our blacktop. Right now, they're working on our Dutchtown Road. We're doing the end of it and to completion to the front. It's scheduled right now, weather permitting, the 17th, 18th, and 19th is we're hoping to have that completed. But that's to say we don't get any more severe weather. Moving forward, we had another mini burst last Saturday at around 5 p.m. We had a crew out of six guys. There was 4 roads closed. We teamed up with Central Hudson. Came in at a little after 5, and by 9 o'clock, all the roads were reopened. They put power back to the residents by the next day. So it was a big thanks to them guys and the guys out working. Got all these roads up and running and open and passable for everybody to go on their routes. At this time, that's all I got.
Great, thank you. I want to take a quick opportunity to thank all of you. We have been challenged by some heavy downpours. The most notable one was about 10 days ago now, one of Damage Road in Malden. You folks put together a tremendous response. I know we helped a lot of folks out, the fire departments as well. We kept the roads open as best we could. We secured roads. We couldn't keep them passable until the storm waters receded. We had the pump truck out from the sewer plant, making sure that the pump stations weren't overwhelmed, causing flooding into the river or into people's homes. You guys could have did more. Thank you for all that effort. And it was pretty inspiring, and I wish it was something our residents could have seen too, because it was really a special moment. So thank you all for that. Yeah, thank you. All right, go on to board committee reports. Mr. Barr?
Yeah, I started started talking to the committees. The ethics committee is having a meeting on the 25th, and they're going to look at maybe looking for some clerical support, admin support for the committee, and putting something in the budget, the upcoming budget for that. I'll talk to you about how to work that out. The drinking water source protection plan stakeholders meeting is also on the 25th in the morning. And I think we're going to have village people as well as town people on that. And speaking of stakeholders, the climate change vulnerability team, the stakeholders meeting for that is, the stakeholder survey, thanks to Chief Swart and Sean Weaver for completing that. I submitted those to Cornell. We'll be getting a follow-up later on that. And getting that underway. We have vulnerability surveys to the public that are available on our town website and various places around town. Cornell wants some information for the public about what their perception of the community's vulnerability is given the climate change events. That's all I have to say right now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Thornton? Ms. Thornton?
Okay, the LifeSpring Adult Education Program that we sponsor, right now there are 134 local residents who've enrolled for the fall semester. The last day to sign up is August 21st. And if anyone in the community is interested in joining LifeSpring, their catalog for the fall semester is online.
Could you tell me what LifeSpring is? I'm not familiar with it.
I'm sorry?
Could you tell me what LifeSpring is? I'm not familiar with it.
What is LifeSpring?
Yes, please.
All right, LifeSpring started probably almost 20 years ago. It was started by a couple of retirees who were college professors and high school teachers, and they were taking a walk up in West Saugerties and said, you know, how come we don't have an adult learning program in Saugerties, like at Bard and a lot of your major universities? So these two ladies came to a town board meeting, and they gave a presentation about would the town be interested in sponsoring an adult learning program for the community. And they had networked with a number of local residents, many other retired individuals, who volunteered to teach some classes. And here we are 20 years later with literally the only adult learning program sponsored by a municipality in the country that I'm aware of. Most of the adult programs are basically all sponsored through colleges and universities. So the programs are very diverse, they vary. We have Leslie Supernot, who is a member of the board. She recently retired from her position, and she's a great outdoor enthusiast and sponsors, for example, hikes. She does lectures on pollinator gardens. We have local artists like yourself who will do an art-themed class. There's classes in poetry, there's dance, it's just incredible. And they had a meet and greet this past Thursday up here at the Senior Center. And it was over 20, I think between 20 and 25 people who came, who had heard about LifeSpring, but didn't know if it was something they wanted to get involved with. And they meet classes, some of them are on Zoom. Their regular sessions are at the WJC, the Jewish Community Center, off of 212, and they're on Wednesdays. And I would suggest if you go to their website, which is linked to the town website, you'll find out a lot about it.
Thank you.
And it's a great group. It's men and women of all ages, of all backgrounds. And I think we have a population of, what, almost 20,000 people. I think this community would absolutely be blown away if they knew who some of the volunteers are who have taught classes. And the talent is just, I'm just overwhelmed every time the curriculum comes out. Where do they find this person? Well, they live here in Saugerties, you know. So it's just one of the real pluses that the town of Saugerties is involved with. Touch a Truck. Those of you that have been coming to town board meetings, you know, every October, the Community Foundation, we sponsor the Touch a Truck activity, which Mr. Mayon from the Highway Department brings some of the equipment in. All of the fire companies send their trucks. The police department has a number of vehicles with all sorts of things. And we have it at Cantine Field. And the kids come and wear their Halloween costumes and they trick or treat from truck to truck. And like Otani Fuel, they came last year for the first time. We have the Coast Guard, we have the state police, we have, well, anybody that has a truck. If you have a truck and you have a vehicle and you want to let kids know what it's about, that's a future fun activity, you show up. And the money goes, well, the money has been going, that we've raised, goes towards the Splash Pad project. But since we received the state grant, this year, the Touch a Truck project, we're going to hold the event and the funds are going to go to the animal shelter. So, you know, it's going to be October 25th. It's a Sunday afternoon. And, you know, we have chili and hot dogs and beverages and lots of candy, and there's giveaways and pumpkins from Stories Farms, which I hope they didn't get all flooded away last week, but you know, that's what Touch a Truck is. STAC Committee, the Saugerties Area Transportation Mobility Group, made up of town and village members. We met on Tuesday evening, and one of the topics of discussion was the upcoming Garlic Festival, and because of the bridge being down, traffic patterns for bringing in, you know, 50,000 people over the course of the 2 days. So that was one of the discussions. Basically, you know, the committee is encouraging that the new parking lot, if you're using the new parking lot in the village, the lights are going in this week. And Mr. Brown basically touched base and kind of gave a little summary of the new parking system that the village is considering. It's going to, kind of like what you see in other larger communities where you can use a credit card on a meter. I think they're going to be phasing that in eventually. And Mr. Mayon talked about the problems with, waiting on trucks that have been ordered for a year or two, and they're now finally coming through. There's a motion on you tonight to deal with that. And gave a great update on the storm response, basically, that our highway department faced over the, wasn't a hurricane or a monsoon, but it certainly seemed like it. And the Historical Society has several pieces of Augusta Savage work that has been given to the Historical Society as the keepers by the family, and they will be on exhibit at the Kierstead House. And I would encourage people when the house is open to go in and take a look at them. And kudos to the Studio Art Tour, just another huge success, featuring our very talented artists in the community. And if you were in the village over the weekend, you probably saw lots of activity with people, walking the streets, checking out the street art, of course. And between the street art and the Studio Art Tour, Saugerties was hopping this weekend. It was a busy, busy place. That's all I had.
Congratulations, I think 43 artists participated this year.
46.
46.
46.
That's a record, right?
22.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Mr. Avino?
Joanne, I just want to touch on the beach.
Beach.
The beach is governed by the village.
Okay.
The town did provide money to the harvester that is supposed to be operated under the guise of the village government. So that kind of conversation might be a little bit more productive with them. I know they do staff that machine, I believe, 2 or 3 times a week, but there is concerns of people on the Esopus Creek Drive that it needs to be more. So there's a lot of people involved on Esopus Creek as well. If you want, I can help relay some of those names and phone numbers for you.
Yeah, no, it's like, people ask about it, it seems like it's underused. I know people use the kayaks, but they're not, I don't see people swimming.
Unfortunately, the milfoil and the chestnuts are just so invasive and quick that I don't think we're working as fast as it's germinating and being promoted.
Weather patterns this year with the early heat wave just made the only ones that are happy about it were the invasive species. We had the same problem in the reservoir, which impacted water quality and containing the algae bloom at the beach has impacted it all year. And then the heavy rains bring turbidity too, so the water just doesn't look very appealing.
Right, but is there, like, no, I mean, maybe there's a way that we can just get together or volunteer groups to try to help this situation and work with those guys or something,
Chief,
I don't know what we would be doing, but, I know townspeople do try to do cleanups, so. Has that ever been done? I mean,
yeah, for sure, there's been,
but they're the people who talk to the village.
yeah, like,
They've tried to do a volunteer stint with the harvester. I don't think it was as fruitful as they had thought it was going to be. Sal,
yeah, that's not gonna come to me.
The problem with, Leslie Supernut tells us that the problem with the harvester is it's now pulling up the milfoil by the roots. It just breaks it, and that causes it to get healthier, actually. There's a resolution we're going to pass about the litter support, which also bears upon what we're seeing in the Esopus. And it's as you'll hear, a grant that Riverkeeper's applying for, that part of the problem with what we're seeing in the Esopus now is from the discharge of phosphates into the creek. And, I've heard that described as giving invasive species candy. They love it.
They love
Yeah. So, anyway, more on that later.
But yeah, thank you for answering that.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
As a few other people have mentioned, Garlic Festival is well underway. The town will be handling the zero waste again. The building department's extremely busy. As you see, we have 2 hires on the agenda tonight, as well as a zoning amendment. Sean's been transitioning into his new role as the department admin, just as if he was a natural for it. Ray and John, thank you for being out there during those storms. Phenomenal job. All of our fire departments did a great job. And like you said, water was up and back down pretty quickly. The animal shelter, we have a benefit Thursday, September 17th from 5 to 8 at Mariners. You can go to the Facebook page or the website to reach out and get your tickets for that if you'd like to join. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bassler?
Thank you. I just wanted to note, I wish that the folks who were here earlier in numbers had stayed, because the work that we're doing as the town board covers a lot of the town's operations that is important, meaningful, interesting, sometimes educational. It's a lot, and I'm continually impressed by the body of knowledge that my colleagues here on the board have, and the department heads as well, all of the committee members that I work with. There's a real commitment to quality and service that's consistent, and I really respect that. Thank you. I wanted to acknowledge a remarkable program. I hope some folks here were able to catch it on August 1st, celebrating the work and life of Augustus Savage, again celebrated in our community in a program organized by Shout Out Saugerties. Last month, the town and the village and the county established August 1st as Augustus Savage Day to put on the calendar every year an opportunity to remember and learn more about the important work of Augustus Savage in our community, and as an historical Black figure in New York City history in the Harlem Renaissance. Really tremendous learning opportunity on August 1st. I was able to catch the programming at the Orpheum Theater. Incredible array of speakers, and film was shared, and it continued with an opening at the Lamb Center of artwork that was inspired by, and I think included some pieces by Augustus Savage. As part of the annual celebration created by the establishment of August 1st as Augustus Savage Day, Shout Out has applied for funding from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation's new African American Heritage Grant, and that was submitted at the end of July, a couple weeks ago, and hopefully, if awarded, will fund a commissioned sculpture, a bust of Augustus Savage that would be housed in the Saugerties Library and would also have some related educational materials. The town is supporting Shout Out as a fiscal sponsor, which recognizes the important public benefit of the work to commemorate and remember Augustus Savage. So that's not a one-time thing. This is continuing to be a really impressive part of Saugerties history. I hope that we can all continue to appreciate it and attend these events that are celebrating her work. HUD. The HUD office last month reported a shortfall from the federal funding, which was half of their typical check. There were concerns about communications from the federal office. Would they get the money to pay the rent? It is a direct conduit from the federal office to Saugerties to local landlords who rent their buildings, housing units to our neighbors and do it affordably under this program. So I'm pleased to say that in August that funding was restored to near normal levels. But I wanted to take the opportunity to say that week after week applicants for housing in Saugerties, applicants to the HUD office are turned away due to a shortage of housing units. If we had a whole room full of people, I would be speaking to a lot more potential listeners to say that the office sorely needs new landlord applicants. If anyone hearing this is interested or knows someone who has any properties that could be suited for housing and for the dependable income revenue stream of these payments, then they can feel free to contact Deb Wells, the HUD administrator at the HUD office for more information. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just mention on the Augusta Savage thing, I think it's at 2 o'clock this Sunday. They have an event at the Lamb Center where they'll have artists and several Augusta pieces and, a presentation there, so.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's some sort of a panel event, I'm not exactly sure, but.
Yeah, like a discussion, panel discussion.
Yeah.
Some of the artists that are in the show, I think, are going to be there.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's pretty exciting, and I hope folks take time to go and enjoy that. I also want to thank Councilmember Batchelor. She did the grant for the Augusta Savage, so thank you for that. And we're going to do another letter this evening on another grant that she did on our behalf. So pretty extraordinary, a lot of work went into both. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Good? Go to motions and resolutions.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kim Smith, Saugerties Deputy Town Clerk, as Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for the remainder of 2026.
Second?
Discussion. Kim has slid nicely into that position. She works great with Lisa, which is obviously critically important, but they share the consumer mindset when folks come for help. They're happy to direct them where they need to go or just provide the service that they came for if it's relevant with the town clerk. By default, sometimes unfortunately, the clerk's office becomes the receptionist for the entire building, and they do a great job. I always appreciate it that Lisa had that the customers come first kind of attitude, and Kim is immediately subscribing to that, so that's good, and I think it's going to be a good fit for a long time. Anything?
Sounds good.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I make a motion to approve the standard IRS allowance for mileage reimbursement at a rate of 76 cents per mile effective July 1st, 2026.
Second.
Discussion. We always coordinate with the IRS reimbursement level. I think it is a law. They recently increased that in light of, they usually don't do it mid-year, but in light of the persistently high fuel prices and other costs, they did this, so we are following suit. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I'd like to make a motion to move Alden Weeks to the position of heavy motor equipment operator for the highway department at $32.75 an hour, effective August 13, 2026. And as per the recommendation of Raymond Mayon, I will support it.
Second, discussion. Alan's been with you since you've been here. He's been here quite a bit longer than that, too. It's been nice to watch him evolve, develop those skills. You know, share a couple comments. Go ahead.
No, he's young and he has a long future in the highway department. and he's pretty talented with fixing things and a talent to run the equipment, and he should be able to fit into that as a good position.
Anything?
I didn't want to say that.
All right, ask for a vote. Mr. Bart?
Yes.
Mrs. Fleury?
Yes.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. Congratulations, Al.
I'd like to make a motion authorizing Highway Superintendent Raymond Bayonne to purchase one new 2027 Dodge Ram 5500 regular cab chassis 4x4 truck with a 9-foot rugby eliminator steel 3/4 yard dump body and snowplow package via New York State OGS contract number PC69491SV, Group 40440, award 23166 at a purchase price of $74,437. This truck will be paid for from the DBO 3-5110-463 to be reimbursed with CHIPS funding.
Second.
Discussion. Great, do we have a lead time on this? 3 or 4 months? Okay. That's almost reasonable.
2011, last winter, that truck, the rear end fell out, broke in half, we repaired it. We put $78 in that truck, and you couldn't buy a new rear end, we had to still put another used at the junkyard, and that is one of our line plow trucks. There's a lot around the village here and stuff, so that truck needs to be pretty reliable. So I think it's time that should be replaced. And last year, we did a lot of body work on it, it was all rusted and just didn't want it looking like that.
Is that truck retired then, when we get this one?
Yeah, it's gonna be a spare for this winter, and then it's gonna see capital
Okay.
in the spring.
Okay.
That last year, we used the deputy's truck as that route.
Back up. Okay. Hopefully it's a mild winter, not like last year. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. I'd like to make a motion to allow the Town of Saugerties Supervisor to certify an application to be submitted on behalf of the Town of Saugerties Justice Court to the Justice Court Assistant Program for grant funds for the 2026-2027 grant cycle for an amount up to $30,000 pertaining to secure scan document scanning.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Iovino. We have been fortunate and been awarded this grant before. It helps us stay relevant. One of the projects the court took on was to expel cases that we weren't required to keep anymore. And Secure Scan will automate that much better, and we will have less on-hand paper. So we'll use the grant for that and some other improvements. Hopefully we're successful again in getting it. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Iovino?
Yes.
Mrs. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to allow the Town of Saugerties Supervisor to sign a letter of authorization in regards to allowing a representative of the Bekowitz family to go before the Town of Saugerties Planning Board to pursue a lot line revision between parcels 29.29-1-27 and 29.29-1-28.
Second.
Discussion. So, the Town of Saugerties Water District owns a 1-acre parcel in the center of lands that are owned by the Pickowitz family. About 9 years ago, through New York Rising, we were able to secure a grant to replace the original steel water tower that was 1 million gallons with a brand new state-of-the-art lead-free concrete structure. Through that process, we found out that we did not have a formal right-of-way to get to our facility. The Pickowitz family, who are our neighbor, graciously cooperated, gave us proper easement at no cost, and they have been that kind of partner for many years. Recently, they have expressed interest in securing an easement across that 1 acre to access the lands on the south side of the water tower, and we are going to allow them to go through the planning process in pursuit of that. If they were able to present a plan, which we believe they will, we want to retain 1 acre. It looks like the boundaries are proposed to be moved west. It's subject to planning board review and final approval. If that happens, then they can have access on the top of the ridge on the east side of the parcel of 1 acre that we have to get to the rest of their land. They're going to bear all the costs for the revisions and the representation to go through the planning process, and we will just be allowing them to act as our agent, and we may ask for some concessions in setbacks for how that land may be used in the future. That's kind of a quick summary for what we know to be fact now, and as we move forward, we may share more information, or we may learn more as we go through the planning process. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to approve the sealed bid opened June 11th, 2026 from Richards Electric in the amount of $330,000 for supply and installation of one new Relco 500 REOZJ C3 phase 277 480 volt diesel emergency backup generator system for the Ice Arena chiller. To include one new CSC AMPC 1200S transfer switch and new electric service, along with all related and required wiring materials and supplies. Funds to cover aforementioned costs from SAM's grant number 25834, $76,018.66, previously dedicated October 19th, 2022 Recreation Trust funds in the amount of $103,570. Climate Smart grant in the amount of $36,499. Ice Arena surplus revenues from 2024 in the amount of $48,579, and 2025 surplus revenues in the amount of $40,697, along with 2026 budgeted line item A7110.490 of $10,000 and line item A7110.491 for $15,000 as per the recommendation of the Parks and Buildings Superintendent, and further as per approval of the town CPA.
Second.
Discussion? Greg, you spent a lot of time on this one, just brief us.
Yeah, since 2021, I believe, might have even been 2020. We initially wanted to do one generator, the Ice Arena chiller, and the lights, and what we refer to as Building A, which is the concrete structure. That price tag came in at a little over $750,000, and we split it up with 2 generators. If you recall, I don't know how many months ago, we approved a smaller generator for Building A, and then this second one is going to take care of the Ice Arena chiller and the lights that light the rink. Once those 2 are operational, we will be a fully certified Red Cross facility. That's the last piece, is the generators. Red Cross has done some of their training there, some of their education sessions there, and again, this is going to be, will serve multiple fold, so to speak, with the Ice Arena chiller and also the lighting on the ice rink floor. We've been very lucky. We've come close on several occasions where we've had power outages, and if we lose the bond, which we almost did during Irene, luckily, I had a good rapport with Jason Zillow, remember Jason? And he pulled the crew because we started to lose that bond. You lose the bond, the entire ice sheet has to come out. You have to redo it. And that there would be a process of anywhere from 7 to maybe as 9 days, and just a rough guesstimate, $12,000 to $15,000. We've been, again, lucky during power failures that they have come either with the weather was cold, the one with Irene, we came very, very close. And inevitably, we've seen the change in weather, change in climate patterns. Inevitably, it's going to happen.
Any further discussion? Call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Vino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I'd like to make a motion to add to the Parks and Buildings call-out list, Hudson Darmain, at a pay rate of $17.50 an hour, as per the recommendations of the Parks and Buildings Superintendent.
Second.
Discussion?
Hudson was, this is the 3rd year in a row from State Education Department. We got an intern, fully paid by State Education. And Hudson really took on a young man, 15 years old, and has the maturity level of a 21-year-old. Really took on a lot of initiative, wants to learn. So we're going to put him on the part-time call-out list, and the likelihood of the state sponsoring him again next summer is highly unlikely. They usually just do 1 year's things. But a real nice, polite gentleman.
Very good. All right, call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Vino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I'd like to make a motion to allow the supervisor to sign the proposal with Code Red Consultants, LLC, as on file regarding key capture energy battery storage system services.
Second, discussion. Did anything? Ready? Okay. Call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Vino?
Yes.
Mrs. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. I'd like to make a motion to award the sealed bid for the demolition of debris from 638 Route 212, Saugerties, New York, to Washington Estates Transport, Inc. in the amount of $28,500.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. So this structure suffered a catastrophic fire early in the summer.
As Fred was stating, this location suffered a fire which basically left the house irreparable and a safety issue to the residents around it. We went out to bid. Today we accepted those bids and Washington Estates was awarded the contract. We've worked with Washington Estates before. They did the Sawyer Kill project. Once this is underway, it should only take 2 to 3 days and the property will be cleaned up. And the family there can do as they please moving forward.
Is that the one in Centerville?
Yes.
Also, during the fire,
So during the fire, it came to a point where the house was unstable. We had to call in Arlington with their structural support team. They came in, shored the building up to continue the fire investigation. And then after that, the day after, we took the building down after it was condemned by the building department. And this is the last piece of the puzzle to getting it cleaned up.
And we're using the property maintenance law to invoke being able to spend money on this property. Unfortunately, the property was uninsured, and we secured permission before we went in there, and there was also asbestos abatement considered in this as well. So a lot of work to get here. I know there was a little bit of frustration by some of the neighbors up there, but we did this in this expedited fashion as we possibly could, and hopefully in the very near future, it'll just be a memory. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to approve setting the following public hearing dates of September 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. and October 7th, 2026 at 6 p.m. regarding proposed local law amending Chapter 245 zoning pertaining to indoor agriculture and horticultural specialties.
Second?
Discussion? We're going to have plenty of opportunity for discussion. Drafts of law will be available before public hearings, and folks can share their thoughts. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
May I ask you a question? Is that a structure that's going to be put in place? This thing you're talking about?
The horticultural?
Yeah.
No, but there's a,
Basically, what this is going to do is expand the zoning for agricultural and horticultural specialties a little bit beyond where it is now. We've come to recognize that there's areas in the LDR and the MDR district, or the LDR and MDR districts that could benefit from this, that aren't necessarily on town roads, but our focus was state and county road access only, as well as a acreage minimum requirement for these particular type of specialties and these type of businesses. So hopefully that'll move forward business in the town and kind of create, another tax revenue stream type deal for the county and so on.
Thanks.
call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to approve Melinda Huerta as a part-time clerk at a pay rate of $25 per hour effective August 19th, 2026 for 30 hours a week for the recommendation of the building inspector, code enforcement department administrator Sean Weaver.
Second.
Discussion. So one of the things that we've done between Dylan and Melinda is Mr. Weeks has retired, is no longer with the department. We're trying with 2 part-time positions for now. We can scale up or down depending how much activity is going through the building department. But this, we believe, will give us support administratively and in the field by choosing this model. So we think it's a good, viable solution for the level of activity that's happening now. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to approve Dylan Hannenberg as a part-time municipal code assistant at a pay rate of $25 per hour for 30 hours a week, effective August 17th, 2026, per the recommendation of the building inspector, code enforcement department, and Mr. Sean Weaver.
Second.
Discussion, some comments I shared in regard to Melinda are relevant with Dylan as well. And hopefully this is going to be a good strategy. I think it will be. And expand our payroll a little bit, but I think in the long term it'll help us fulfill our mandate to make sure buildings are safe and in code compliance. Any further discussion?
Dylan is currently in the middle of his classes for the code enforcement position, successfully completing the first half and working towards completion of the second half of that program.
Okay. Call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. All right, so for folks who maybe follow along, we did agree to add some motions that came in late. We just did a couple of those, we have one more. I'll read them, 2 more.
Two more. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign and submit a $97,400 grant application to the Hudson River Foundation for the Lower Asoka Stream Management Plan Grant Program in support of Project 44 tributary stabilization at Esopus Bend. The town's match for the project will not exceed $19,480.
Second.
Second discussion, so this is one of the grants that Ms. Bassler did on our behalf. She put a lot of effort into both of these, I'm very grateful. It's pretty extraordinary for a board member to take on something of this magnitude. Also, the 19,480 will be in part cash, but also in-kind services. Hopefully we're able to acknowledge our grants administrator and Ms. Bassler's time and our share of the town match. And I'm sure we'll have other opportunities to employ either committees or our own resources to meet the rest of it. All right, any further discussion?
Just
Talk
to-
about the grant a little bit?
Yeah, just to clarify that this is for the design engineering of the stormwater outfall on Kalina Drive that has been causing significant erosion of the two private properties and of the Esopus Bend Preserve land. And the funding source is a program that had that Project 44 that was referenced already identified as a preferred project, which is meant to result in improvements in water quality downstream and in the quality and durability, resilience of the ecosystem there at the Esopus Creek. And so we had an initial submission that was a letter of intent, involved a fair amount of scope development with the engineers, and this application, which is due in a couple of weeks, will be for the full grant and would be noticed in October. So if it's awarded, then we would anticipate the town's share to come into play at some point in 2027, I would expect.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, we'll call for a vote. Mr. Barr?
Yes?
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Avino?
Motion to allow the supervisor to sign a letter of support in regards to Riverkeeper's proposed lower Esopus septic and phosphorus assessment, a pathway to future investment to the Hudson River Foundation's lower Esopus stream management plan grants.
Second.
Discussion. So, if, given the level of motions focusing on this health of the Esopus Creek, it may come as a surprise to some folks, but there's been more than a decade of effort to motivate studies into the creek, the sediment deposits that are occurring, the milfoil and the other invasive species that are compromising the health of and the recreational opportunities that the lower Esopus affords. There's been a lot of movement from the DEP recently, and the county has released a lot of the money that came from the DEP, so these funding opportunities are finally maturing. We have a lot of Esopus Creek going through Saugerties, so we're going to try to take advantage of every opportunity that comes our way. It is an important resource for recreational opportunities and habitat, so we want to do everything we can to try to maximize our opportunity to make sure that the creek is as healthy as it can be and as useful in a recreational capacity as it can be as well. So you'll probably see more efforts like this in the near future to try to make the creek either study it or make improvements that will help with turbidity issues and other issues. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to add that although the beach is in the village, the lower Esopus, we have communities on Esopus which are town properties. And hopefully, as Fred said, if this grant, if Riverkeeper is successful, this will pave the way for subsequent grants. And we can continue.
So I'll get the seal.
Yes.
And what you said, you talked about the area around Kalina, that's all part of this too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's community right on the Esopus too. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
It goes all the way down to John Street and Wilson Avenue, that area. The water drains from 9W all the way back. The native soils are sandy, so they're very subject to heavy rains become buoyant in the water and finding their way to the deposit, so.
Yeah, especially with the recent, like, really intense storm events. I'd be curious to go back to Galena and see what that looks like now, after that as well. Yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Albino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. All right, we didn't miss anything. Okay. All right, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. Second,
Second.
discussion. Before everyone leaves, please join us in a brief moment of silence in memory of a number of Saugerties residents. Ray Scally was a very familiar face on Cantine Field, participated in many recreational activities. Janice Martin, whose son Bobby and others were longtime members of many organizations, Powerboat Association, Glasgow Fire Department. Elda Zulik, who is infamous founder of Gristmill Realty. True pleasure to be around, very, very bright woman. And Jimmy Murphy, who is the now deceased husband of Cindy Murphy, who was a longtime court clerk here. Jimmy was also a longtime participant in a lot of sports activities. So please join us all in the brief moment of silence to honor their memory. All right, thank you. Next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, September 2nd, 2026. Our pre-board meeting will be at 6:30. Our town board meeting will be at 7 p.m. Did we just schedule a public hearing?
6 o'clock on the 2nd.
We'll have a public hearing at 6 p.m. for the horticultural events. All right, all those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.